Hello guys and welcome back to the GCOR show. Today we're going to be talking about McLaren, specifically CharlieDore. I think the last season and the start of this season, I know we've only had 3 races, but I think CharlieDore's actually been, one of the top 3 best drivers on the grid. Especially in terms of consistency. I know, speed is there, especially last season. This season, not as much. Obviously, the grid is much stronger this season. But I do think overall, the start of this season and last season, I think CharlieDore's been top 3 best drivers on the grid. I think only Hurricane obviously tops him. Ollie Freeman, in my opinion, tops him, and you might even say Midget Matt. Remember, this is going off last season, the entirety of last season, the start of this season, what I've seen. But yeah, no, CharlieDore, he's done a brilliant job, and well, this got me thinking: could CharlieDore actually challenge for a title, and would McLaren allow him to challenge Hurricane for a title? I mean, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, and here are my thoughts, I guess. I mean, CharlieDore so far has had actually a really good start of the season. I know Singapore didn't go as planned. But apart from that, I mean, you look at race 1 at Suzuka. CharlieDore himself admitted that Suzuka is not one of his favorite tracks. Qualified P9, which he said was just not good enough. But the car, he just didn't have the car underneath him. Goes to the race, and I mean, bags a P3, and in McLaren's bid to do a historic 3-peat, make it 3 in a row in terms of the constructors' title. That was pretty much a dream start for them, getting a 1-3. Australia came, and again, McLaren seemed to not really have too much pace, but again, CharlieDore was on the podium, with a P2 that day, actually. A P2. As I said, Singapore didn't go to plan, with CharlieDore finishing low down in the order. I think it was a P9. But, this season I think he's done really well. After Australia, he was only 3 points behind Hurricane. Now that gap's increased a little bit to 7. But just think about it. After the first quarter of the season, CharlieDore was only 7 points behind the championship leader, Hurricane. 3 points behind the reigning world champion, Hurricane. 7 points. 7 points behind 7 points behind the 2-time world champion, Hurricane, and 7 points behind a potential GCOR GOAT in Hurricane. So CharlieDore, I think he needs to give himself a pat on the back. He's done a very good job up to this stage, but this season is going to be a tough GCOR season. I think 7 points is what separates first and fourth. CharlieDore now sits 4th currently in the standings, but if that opportunity were to arise to fight for a title, would he be able to go toe-to-toe with Hurricane? Would would McLaren allow that to happen? This is Hurricane's team. This is Hurricane's team, and I know in past interviews and podcasts and shows and just in general, both drivers, both Hurricane and CharlieDore, have said there's no number 1 and number 2 driver in the team. The team principal Tyler says, don't fight each other, keep it clean on track. If you are going to fight each other, obviously be sensible, nothing too silly, and I guess that's fair. That's fair. Not having a number 1, number 2 driver, having a number 1, number 2 driver sort of thing kind of demoralizes the so-called number 2 driver. So I think with equal status, if that is to be true, obviously that could just all be PR, just trying to protect. In this case, with all respects to CharlieDore, just a PR stunt to protect CharlieDore. But I don't know. I think he's got the consistency. I actually do think he's got the consistency to be at the top regularly. As we've seen so far at Suzuka and at Australia, he's got that consistency. And I mean, last time out, he beat Hurricane on pure pace. You know, it's not too often we can say someone's beaten Hurricane on pure pace these days. You know, especially his teammate in the exact same car as him, with the exact same setup. So kudos to CharlieDore. Would the team allow that? I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, if they are equal, then I'd like to think so. I would like to think so. Would it cause an upset within the team? I mean, Hurricane's had he's come together with a few drivers on the grid. He's had his fair share of controversial incidents. He's had a few incidents with Coward in the past. Matt, I remember those two actually had an incident back in Gen 3 Season 2 at Saudi Arabia. Most famously, Hurricane had his incident at Monza sprint race at Chicone Ascent 5 whilst gunning for the title. Many Hurricane 98 fans, they're going to be closing their ears on this one. But no, Hurricane is a clean driver. He is a clean driver. But when push comes to shove, something that all great drivers have is elbows out. Hard but fair, right on the limit of the FIA. Of the stewards. We've seen that on multiple occasions. There's been an instance where Coward's been overly aggressive. There's been instances where Chiconas has been overly aggressive. There's been instances where, well, maybe not so much nowadays, but definitely back in the day, Hurricane was very aggressive. There's been instances where Dino Bambino was very aggressive. If you want to go back even further, the days of Beast Mode Sam, very, very aggressive. So, in order to challenge for a title, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need that dog in you, man. You're gonna need that hunger. Has CharlieDore got that dog and that hunger? I mean, he's never been in the championship fight. He's been in fights for race victories. Obviously, he's a race winner. This time last season, he was celebrating his maiden GCOR race victory. With the McLaren team. Hurricane side not as happy after he got controversially disqualified, although didn't have any effect for the title. Still ended up winning it with, I think it was 3 races to go. The earliest anyone's ever been crowned a GCOR World Champion. But I don't know. CharlieDore's not really needed to be aggressive. He's not really needed to have his elbows out. He's not really needed to be a bully. I'm not saying that he should be a bully, but definitely if you want to go toe to toe with the top, you're gonna need that that grunt about you. Can't let yourself get bullied. And that's the thing. I've not seen anything from CharlieDore yet that shows that type of desire. Don't get me wrong, he's not been in situations like that. CharlieDore, as I said, is a very clean driver, and I'm probably being what's the word? Probably being very hypocritical. That's the word. Of myself. Saying you need to be a clean driver, but you also need to have your elbows out. But that's what happens. That's what makes good drivers into great drivers. That's what makes great drivers into champions. Having those elbows out, but keeping it clean. Having the driver IQ to stay out of trouble. So I mean, I guess time will tell. Time will tell if CharlieDore has that in him. I think this season, if there is a chance to win a race, I think he will be a little bit more aggressive, especially if it's really this close at the top. I think he will get his elbows out. Whether it will be against Hurricane, I doubt it. But if it's against a Luigi, if it's against a Marshy, if it's against a Coward, I think he will. If it's against Smudge as well. So that will be interesting to see. But yeah, that's my thoughts on CharlieDore. Brilliant driver, superb consistency. championship caliber, only time will tell. Only time will tell. But yep, thank you for being with me. This GCOR show. Hopefully we can start getting a few more rolling out, and yeah, on to the next one.